Okay, boy, Alana, I tell you what, the skiers, the ski resorts that cater to them, they are all eager to get this winter show on the road.
They are, and it's still early. I know Park City and the northern mountains haven't received a lot of snow, but it's still early in the season, and we've seen this happen before, so don't lose hope just yet. This guy isn't. Eagle Eye, love that, coming from Chris Williams. Had a couple great shots tonight. Scott Taylor shared this one. The bald eagle season's usually around February, so that's a bit early. Wanted to show you what Nelson Peak looked like. This is our ABC4 camera on the Oakers. This is snow that was on the lens as you tried to sneak down into the Salt Lake Valley. That just goes to show that the moisture we saw this morning was snow above 7,000 feet. Payson with the clouds. Thank you, Pat, for sharing that one with us. That's a good one. You know, we're coming off of the weekend storm that had some solid precipitation totals. Granted, not a tremendous amount of snow, but our valley precip was great. Rain at 1.39 inches in Fruit Heights, 1.2 in Ogden, Kaysville over an inch. So is Richmond and Brigham. Now, with a southerly flow, there are certain areas that are favored more. The Ogden Valley is part of that. So is Utah County. Logan did well at 0.87, more than half an inch in Draper, Magna, Orem. And then you look at Salt Lake International and compare the numbers, where we only picked up 0.31 inches. And that's because the Oakers at times can rain shadow our precipitation with a southerly flow, and so we don't see as much as everybody else. Great sunset. Susan, thank you. That's a pretty one coming from Iron County. Cedar City tonight, and we know changes are brewing. You're setting up for a soggy Tuesday. Satellite radar shows the cloud cover that has streamed in. That was part of that sunset photo. High pressure set up briefly, but now we know our southerly flow is going to drag some moisture into the picture. Enzyme Peak showing the clearing of the clouds over the Salt Lake Valley. Pretty, really pretty, with the city down below. Dry conditions for the Wasatch Front tonight. High temperatures in the 50s, 56 in Salt Lake. 50 is our average high, so even with wet weather and cooler conditions, we were above average. 50s and 40s on the eastern side of the state. Stayed chilly in Blanding, Hanksville, Cedar City, even Delta and Milford with the low 50s out there. Made it to 60 in St. George. 63 is the average. Along the Wasatch Front, our partly cloudy skies become mostly cloudy as that southerly flow draws that moisture further north, but we're looking at wet weather, focusing on southern Utah, where Wesley Ruff was today. That Sand Hollow shot shows the clouds on the move, and this is a live view of Bryan Head. I'm watching this because when the snow starts to fall, you can pick it up on the camera. It's dry right now, but that hasn't stopped that winter weather advisory from going into effect. It's in effect until Wednesday. We are looking at accumulation above 6,500 feet, but the snow levels are starting at 8,000, and that's why we will have higher snow totals at places like Bryan Head, and we know winter driving conditions should be expected. Slushy roads above 6,500 feet, and that does include some of our favorite state routes, SR 12, that's Scenic Byway, SR 143, and SR 14, the road up to Bryan Head. So we've just got to be careful. If you are traveling these roads, just be prepared. You will see wintry weather, even though it's fall, and even though northern Utah is still above average. Futurecast shows our southerly flow and the wet weather on the move. A cutoff low moving inland is going to track through the desert southwest. Here we are by tomorrow afternoon, and you can see the southern half of the state with those storms, snow in the mountains, rain in our valleys, and the moisture goes all the way up to I-70. It's going to push even further towards Castle Country and even Utah County for our Tuesday and towards the midweek. We're looking at waves of precipitation, moisture moving through as we get through early Thursday. Here we are early Thursday with southeastern Utah getting in on the mix. As we look at our rainfall forecast, the further south you are, the better chance that you have higher precip totals. We always take these with a grain of salt, but just showing you how far north some of that wet weather will show up. Excessive rainfall threat has been upgraded. It's a marginal risk, meaning the periods of precipitation in our valleys, well, we could get some heavy rain there. It's going to be snow in the mountains. We're going 1 to 3 inches for the northern mountains, just a little unsettled. 2 to 10 in the central portion of the state, so places like Eagle Point, and then down south, 4 to 14 inches. I think Bryan Head's going to do pretty well from this storm system, and I know that they have that Friday opening, so they're probably pretty excited about it. Big picture shows that cutoff low on the move. It's going to move through the desert southwest, bring that southerly flow with rainy conditions. Another cutoff behind it could dig further south, but it also, by the end of the week, could lift over the Beehive State. If it does, it will bring some precip before high pressure to the south of us wants to set up. Regional forecast for tomorrow. With the 50s, mostly cloudy skies, southern half of the state with the wet weather. 40s and 50s on the eastern side of the state. 57 in St. George. Want to see something funny? The 7-day in St. George is like, look, I'm so Salt Lake. Okay, we get it. You've got 50s and some wet weather. Drier conditions by the weekend, but the chance of scattered or isolated showers holds on in Washington County. The Wasatch Front is not even that active. Hello, we get some isolated showers Wednesday if the southerly flow pulls it up, and then maybe again Friday. But other than that, we're quieting down. Southern Utah stealing our thunder a little bit, but we're happy. We need moisture in the desert, and this storm system should benefit the mountains down south.
And maybe you're heading to Bryan Head, huh? You gotta